Blade Barrage is the best burst DPS in the game. Yes, it is. It is no longer Celestial Nighthawk. You're being put away in favor of Blade Barrage and Star Eater skills. Yes, it does take a little bit of effort to get this going, and you are gonna need a full coordinated team. Only because solo is gonna be kind of difficult for you to make orbs of power consistent enough for you to abuse it. If you're going solo, I would recommend just sticking with Celestial Nighthawk. It won't do as much damage, but you'll still be able to do just fine with it. It still hits really hard. But here's how I built my setup. Obviously, you're gonna want to have maybe a bit more stat into intellect. 100 mobility, 100 recovery just would be nice. I just don't have the best armor right now. But let's go into this. So Starter Skills is going to be the exotic that we use in order to make our Blade Barrage go nuts, as it gives a 90% damage increase. And so obviously we have Blade Barrage. That's going to be our super. Knock him down is also mandatory here because it doubles the blade count. Well, almost doubles, but it gives a lot more blades than usual. With just Knock him down and Blade Barrage, to the grass boss, I did 412,000 damage with just Knock him down and Blade Barrage. That's it. Now, Star Eater Skills adds a 90% damage bump into that. That's a lot of damage. No pun intended. No meme intended. So you're gonna be doing in the ballpark of 600 to 700,000 damage, depending on the boss, because different bosses have different resistances, and in GMs you're doing a little less damage. Less damage. Once GMs actually come out in July. The fragments that I would recommend are Ember of Beams, as it makes your spread on the knives much tighter, so you can much more accurately hit a boss. Now, it doesn't really deter from the fact that this is a very good ad clearing super still. Like, just because it's a little tighter doesn't mean that you can't whip around your view to spread them out more. It's much easier on a mouse and keyboard because you do it much faster, but if you have higher sensitivity on a controller, you can do it just fine. Ember of Combustion, pretty much anything you kill becomes a bomb. So their friends are going to be all like, wait, why are you like, and they're just going to explode and absolutely get crushed into embers. Ember of Torches, being radiant is very helpful, even though it doesn't apply to Blade Barrage. It is still very helpful for your own weapons, for your teammates' weapons. Just doing more damage with rocket launchers is more than enough. After you super, you just bombard it with rocket launchers, Gallahorn, and Ascendancies or whatever. You will be doing much more damage when you're radiant. Solar Ignitions have increased area of effect. It goes with the super kills apply ignition. It's just gonna make getting whole rooms cleared out much more consistent, I guess you could say. Ember of Wonder, rapidly defeating multiple targets. Solar Ignitions generates an orb of power. These last two are pretty optional, as really I would only ever choose On Your Mark for the extra fragments in PvE, not so much the actual perk, because the perk is more for like PvP. If you don't really want to use that, you can always use Gunpowder Gamble, which is a wonderful thing that causes ignition. So you can honestly replace something like Radiant, because it doesn't really affect your super, with Ember of Wonder to create more orbs of power if you so choose. But realistically, what you really are going to want is Ember Beams and Ember Combustion. The rest of the other ones are more so your choice. As for weapons, solar. Anything solar. Preferably you have a special kinetic, as I'm going to show you. Kinetic Siphon. Getting a multi-kills will generate orbs of power for you. It's what you need for starting your skills. So preferably you use Sunshot, Vex, Callus, Mini Tool, Summoner. Hell, it's gonna be a little spicy. You drink Baroque for solar. So, and solar is going to be enhanced by Font of Might, which you're going to get from Elemental Armaments or Elemental Ordnance. to spawn solar wells, which you pick up, which boosts the damage of solar weapons using Font of Might. Kinetic Siphon again to create orbs of power, always a wonderful thing. Radiant Light, I just personally like having a lot more strength and powerful friends because hunters like ability. I just need better armor to get 100 stats and such. Like using this one just instantly raises up my stats to something I would much rather prefer, honestly. So we have that. And then obviously for your solar damage resistance, it would depend on Nightfall Strike GM that you're doing. You know, whatever does more damage to you. And this was just a quick video on to let y'all know that Blade Barrage is coming in full force with DPS bursting. Like if you were to do the math, and 90%, 412,000, it is in the ballpark of 700,000. Realistically, you're not going to be getting that much as different bosses apply to different damage outputs. So, but it's a lot more damage than pretty much every other super in the game. Falling Star is 500,000. This does way more damage than that. It does at minimum 100, like about 100,000 more average. Like that's insane for Titans to be falling beneath, I guess, Blade Barrage, since the Thunder Crash has been probably the go-to burst damage for a very long time now. It does more than Mobius Quiver, which falls in the neighborhood of like 450 to 500,000 as well. And in all reality, this is just such a fast supercharge. Like, yeah, it's the 7 minutes, but there are so many ways to up that. If you want, maybe you don't want to use Starter skills and you want to use Shards of Galanor to get your super back faster because you don't really care about boss DPS because you're not doing a GM, you know, or you're not doing a raid. So this was just a quick little thing to let everyone know how absolutely powerful that this is going to be, and honestly, I can't wait to see how this evolves more, or if Bungie's going to end up nerfing this into the ground. I doubt it, though. I think they want to give Blade Barrage a bit of spotlight, but I hope you enjoyed and found this useful. Like, comment what other builds you might help out, or what other builds you might want to see. Maybe you want more of a complex build, because this is more simple. For complexity, I'm probably going to ask a couple of my friends who actually play PvE. But, ciao.